We are live.
And for anybody that's going to watch this on the rerun, I'm sorry. I thought Richard was traveling all week, so I didn't even think we were doing a video today. So
I may have miscommunicated. It's possible.
I'll take the blame. It's fine. But 15 minutes late, did not even advertise at all for this. So sorry. Yeah. Today is a Game of Thrones Jon 6. And if you've watched any of our videos, you know that we start with the brains of the operation. Richard, he will say what he saw in the video, and then I'll just jump in with my stupid stuff. And not really realizing we were doing a video today, I'm not as prepared. If I even seem like I'm prepared sometimes, I'm definitely not today. But we're going to limp through it, get through this one, and see how it goes.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties too. We've had some technical difficulties too here.
Yeah.
So we should probably start off by saying this is welcome back to Old New Dude's channel on tinfoil and theories of Game of Thrones. He's Old New Dude, and I'm Richard York, Asher's trueborn son.
See, I mean, I didn't even. It's Monday, I swear.
Yeah. You're off because you weren't expecting to be here, so you know.
It's okay. The hat's
I'm not even supposed to be here today, as Dante would say, right? I'm not even supposed to be here today. That's have you ever seen Clerks?
Anytime we can talk Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, House of the Dragon, I'm happy. So take it away, Richard.
All right. So Sam is among the 9. We're going to do. We're doing a Game of Thrones chapter 48, Jon 6. Sam is among the 9 promoted. Jon is named Lord Commander Mormont's personal steward. Jon and Sam say their vows in front of 9 weirwoods, and Ghosts gives the watch a hand.
Did you write that in there for me?
No, I just thought it was a funny way to express what's going on here. All right. So David Lightberger has many videos on Odin and 9 symbolism. And Casey and I probably aren't going to improve on his analysis, so we're just going to go straight to the highlights.
There you go.
Jon was breaking his fast on apple cakes and blood sausage when Samwell Tarly plopped himself down on the bench. "I've been summoned to the Sept," Sam said in an excited whisper. "They're passing me out of training. I'm to be made a brother with the rest of you. Can you believe it?" "No, truly?" "Truly. I'm to assist Maester Aemon with the library and the birds. He needs someone who can read and write letters." "You'll do well at that," Jon said, smiling. Sam glanced about anxiously. "Is it time to go? I shouldn't be late. They might change their minds." He was fairly bouncing as they crossed the weed-strewn courtyard. So Sam understands that people change their minds in the story. Rivulets of water trickled down the sides of the wall, so the ice seemed to sparkle and shine. Inside the sept, the great crystal caught the morning light as it streamed through the south-facing window and spread it in a rainbow on the altar. So Dave and Mary Ellen of the Order of the Green Hand think that the crystals of the septs tie them to the others, but here they're being linked to the wall. Perhaps this indicates that the magic ice monsters that are the ones who built the magic ice wall. George is constantly flipping sides with the symbolism, so it's difficult to get a definitive read on these things. As we said previously, George wants things to be ambiguous. Knowing who Jon Snow's mother is or who hired the cat's paw doesn't prove anything because there's more than one correct answer. In fact, I actually think that maybe theories are the wrong words to call these things. We should probably call them
opinions.
Interpretations?
Yeah, I like that better.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll catch on, but
yeah. Anyway, yeah, so it's too ingrained. You came to us outlaws, he began. Poachers, rapers, debtors, killers, and thieves. You came to us children. You came to us alone in chains with neither friends nor honor. You came to us rich, and you came to us poor. Some of you bear the names of proud houses. Others have only bastards' names, or no names at all. It makes no matter. All that is past now. On the wall, we are all one house. At evenfall, as the sun sets and we face the gathering night, you shall take your vows. From that moment, you will be a sworn brother of the Night's Watch. Your crimes will be washed away, your debts forgiven. So too, you must wash away your former loyalties, put aside your grudges, forget old wrongs and old loves alike. Here you begin anew. A man of the Night's Watch lives his life for the realm, not for a king, nor a lord, nor the honor of his house or that of this house or that house, neither for gold nor glory nor a woman's love, but for the realm and all the people in it. A man of the Night's Watch takes no wife and fathers no sons. Our wife is duty, our mistress is honor, and you are the only sons we shall ever know. You have learned the words of the vow. Think carefully before you say them, for once you've taken the black, there is no turning back. The penalty for desertion is death. The old bear paused for a moment before he said, Are there any among you who wish to leave our company? If so, go now, and no one shall think the less of you. No one moved. Well and good, said Mormont. You may take your vows here at evenfall before Septim Kelidar and the first of your order. Do any of you keep to the old gods? Jon stood. I do, my lord. I expect you'll want to say your words before a heart tree, as your uncle did, Mormont said. Yes, my lord, Jon said. The gods of the Sept had nothing to do with him. The blood of the first men flowed in the veins of the Starks. He heard Gren whispering behind him, There's no godswood here, is there? I never saw a godswood. You wouldn't see a herd of Aurochs until they trampled you into the snow, Pip whispered back. I would so, Gren insisted. I'd see them a long way off. Mormont himself confirmed Gren's doubts. Castle Black has no need of a godswood. Beyond the wall, the haunted forest stands as it stood in the Dawn Age, long before the Andals brought the Sevens across the narrow sea. You'll find a grove of weirwoods half a league from this spot, and mayhap your gods as well. My lord, the voice made Jon glance back in surprise. Samuel Tarley was on his feet. The fat boy wiped his sweaty palms against his tunic. Might I go as well to say my words at this heart tree? Does House Tarley keep the old gods too? Mormont asked. No, my lord, Sam replied in a thin, nervous voice. The high officers frightened him, Jon knew, the old bear most of all. I was named in the light of the seventh, the sept of Horn Hill, as my father was, and his father, and all the Tarleys for 1,000 years. Why would you forsake the gods of your father and your house, wondered Sir Jeremy Riker. The Night's Watch is my house now, Sam said. The seven have never answered my prayers. Perhaps the old gods will. As you wish, boy, Mormont said. Castle Black has no need of a godswood? That's interesting and potentially implying the weirwoods are the enemy. We definitely have to wonder if Sam taking his vows at the godswood was important. So I read that because it was a big long quote. Yeah. But then I wanted to get to the fact that they didn't have any need of a godswood, right? I thought
That's weird.
Yeah,
that had never crossed my mind whatsoever. You would think that a castle at the base of the wall in the north that has a sept would definitely want a godswood.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Huh.
Yeah, that was the thing that really struck me about that.
I would think that close to the north and that close to the wall, they would purposely, because we see them growing at the Night Fort wild, that they would purposely have to cut them down and not allow them to grow.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Be none. Yeah,
it's bizarre, and they're in the north where everybody worships the godswoods except for the Vanderleys, basically. But
well, I mean, you got to stop and think, man. Probably half of their forces are from the north.
You'd think so.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much robbers and all that stuff that they can get from the south.
Yeah, you think that is the one who's going to be sending anybody to there more than and the rest of the old god worshippers in the north. That's what's so strange about it. Anyway, yeah, it really seems like a bizarre statement. I never stopped to think about that one before.
That's weird. I didn't catch it.
Yeah, and it's just the wording of it. Of Castle Black has no need of a godswood. That's just crazy. Anyway.
Yeah. Nice catch.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And of course, we have to wonder if Sam taking his vows at the godswood was important. Whether that's because it'll be one of the first things that Bran sees, or if it's because you have to have taken your vows at the godswood for the door to work or whatever, or if it's just meant to cause readers to wonder that, right? Interpretations, as we said.
You want to hear something that just popped into my head?
Sure.
If the South does not recognize a wedding that is done in front of a hearth tree and not a sept, would they not recognize vows said before a weirwood instead of being them said in the. Because
well, it's like Melisandre says that Melisandre says a vow taken to a tree has no more power than one sworn to your shoes or something like that. Like
right.
It means nothing to me that you say an oath to a heart tree, right?
We're automatically assuming that death is what's going to get Jon out of the Night's Watch, and we also going to want Sam out of the Night's Watch so he can be with Gilly or whatever her name is. So that's their out. They're not going to be recognized as Night's Watchmen when the Southern people like King Stannis. I mean, it's just something that popped in my head. I mean
Stannis isn't going to think much of a vow to the Sept either, for that matter, though.
Right. But I'm just looking at ways that Jon and Sam
could matter.
Yeah, can get out of being in the Night's Watch, and the not recognizing anything done in front of a heart tree versus the Sept. I could see that as a loophole.
It's another interesting possibility. So anyway, it's interesting things to think about. We've placed each of you in an order as befits our need and your own strengths and skills. Bowenmarsh stepped forward and handed him a paper. The Lord Commander unrolled it and began to read. Halder to the builders, he began. Halder gave a stiff nod of approval. Gren to the Rangers. Albert to the builders. Pipar to the Rangers. Pip looked over at Jon and wiggled his ears. Samwell to the stewards. Sam sagged with relief, mopping at his brow with a scrap of silk. Mathar to the Rangers. Darian to the stewards. Potter to the Rangers. Jon to the stewards. The stewards? For a moment, Jon could not believe what he had heard. Mormont must have read it wrong. He started to rise to open his mouth, to tell them there had been a mistake. Then he saw Sir Alistair studying him, eyes shiny as two flakes of obsidian, and he knew. Alistair does a heck of an acting job here to convince Jon he's been sabotaged. Although actually, I wonder if he thought it was one more opportunity for Jon to get out of line, right? And he was looking for Jon to object so that he could claim that clearly Jon is not ready if he's not able to accept our guidance or something like that, right? So he may have been not so much enjoying this moment as looking at it as an opportunity that Jon has one chance to sabotage himself here if he speaks up, right? And so he may have been like, oh, it looks like he's about to do it, and then he saw that he's looking at like he was about to do it, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Samuel, you will assist Maester Aemon in the rookery and library. Ched is going to the kennels to help with the hounds. You shall have his cell so as to be close to the Maester night and day. I trust you'll take good care of him. He is very old and very precious to us. Darian, I am told that you sang at many a High Lord's table and shared their meat and mead. We are sending you to Eastwatch. And then a bit later, Marsh turned his smile on Jon. Lord Commander Mormont has requested you for his personal steward, Jon. You'll sleep in a cell beneath his chambers in the Lord Commander's tower. So these are such appropriate appointments, and Jon is so oblivious.
Well, I mean, he's still the boy that Tyrion talked to and tried to point out things to that didn't realize. I mean, even Dolan, whoever is the blacksmith that's telling them, hey, I know these boys. I mean, you're not giving them a chance. You're being the snotty lord that's better than all them. He's still that boy right now. I mean, because he's told right then and there, the Lord Commander has requested you for his personal steward.
Right. There you go. That's why you're in the stewards, because you've been requested to be the steward by the Lord Commander.
Right. It shouldn't take Sam to explain it.
Right. Sam easily figures this out, but I think he's kind of a little astonished that Jon hasn't figured it out.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's do that, in fact. Do you take me for a servant? No, Maester Aemon said from the back of the Sept. Clytus helped him stand. We took you for a man of Night's Watch, but perhaps we were wrong in that, so Aemon is disappointed.
Yeah.
Outside, Jon looked up at the wall, shining in the sun, the melting ice creeping down his side in 100 thin fingers. Jon's rage was such that he would have smashed it all in an instant, and the world be damned. So, will Jon be responsible for the wall coming down? I think it's quite likely that he'll feel responsible, perhaps if it comes down as part of a ritual to get him back into his body or something like that.
I think he's going to fail at something, and what he fails at is stopping the wall from being.
Yeah, that's possible too.
Down.
When I was little, my father used to insist that I attend him in the audience chamber whenever he held court. When he rode to Highgarden to bend his knee to Lord Tyrell, he made me come. Later, though, he started to take Dickon and leave me at home. And he no longer cared whether I sat through his audiences so long as Dickon was there. He wanted his heir at his side, don't you see? To watch and listen and learn from all he did. I'll wager that's why Lord Mormont requested you, John. What else could it be? He wants to groom you for command. John was taken aback. It was true. Lord Eddard had often made Robb part of his councils back at Winterfell. Could Sam be right? Even a bastard could rise high in the Night's Watch, they said. I never asked for this, he said stubbornly. None of us are here for asking, Sam reminded him. And suddenly Jon Snow was ashamed. Crave it or not, Samwell Tarly had found the courage to accept his fate like a man. On the wall, a man gets only what he earns. Benjamin Stark had said the last night Jon had seen him alive. You're no ranger, Jon. Only a green boy with the smell of summer still on you. He'd heard it said that bastards grow up faster than other children. On the wall, you grew up or you died. Jon let out a deep sigh. You have the right of it. I was acting the boy. Then you'll stay and say your words with me? The old gods will be expecting us. He made himself smile. Jon is no ranger. He's a steward and heir.
Yep. He should have been with his father. Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
No. What are you going to say?
No, I was just saying that when Ned took Robb, he should have took Jon with him too.
Oh yeah. 3 times their way was blocked by iron bars, and they had to stop while Bowen Marsh drew out his keys and unlocked the massive chains that secured them. Jon could sense the vast weight pressing down on him as he waited behind the Lord Steward. The air was colder than a tomb, and more still. He felt a strange relief when they reemerged into the afternoon light on the north side of the wall. Sam blinked with a sudden glare and looked around apprehensively. The wildlings! They'd never dare come this close to the wall, would they? They never have. Jon climbed into his saddle. When Bowen Marsh and their ranger escort had mounted, Jon put 2 fingers in his mouth and whistled. Ghost came loping out of the tunnel. The Lord Steward's Garen wickered and backed away from the direwolf. Do you mean to take that beast? Yes, my lord, Jon said. Ghost's head lifted. He seemed to taste the air. In the blink of an eye, he was off, racing across the broad, weed-choked field to vanish in the trees. Jon's sense of relief north of the wall could imply he belongs in the true north.
Yeah.
And I really like that line about the weight pressing down too. It could be the vast weight pressing down on him. That could be Jon could sense the vast weight pressing down on him. So that could indicate either that he feels the burden of maintaining the wall, or it could mean that it will literally fall on him, right? That his body is like believed trapped, or maybe even is trapped underneath the wall when the wall comes down.
Right. Well, in the book club Friday, in the White Tree chapter with Jon, he senses the power of the white tree, the big white tree with the wide mouth that they put sacrifices in and everything. So a lot of that weight might be because if you stop and think about the physics of all that ice being there like that, I mean, it might be the power of whatever magic is used to hold that ice in place to keep it from falling. Like they use magic to control the 14 flames in Valyria. There's magic being used to keep this wall standing, and without that magic, that's what's going to cause it to fall.
Yeah, could be. You just have to. Oh, I like that. Yeah, you could just have to somehow break the magic that's holding it up. Of course, I think part of the magic is the power of an ice dragon trapped in it, based upon all the language about the ice dragon.
Right.
How it's literally all either the ice dragon is hidden, the ice dragon is at the wall, the things at the wall are like the ice dragon, the inside of the wall is like the inside of the ice dragon. Every time the ice dragon comes up, even when you're north of the wall, you follow the ice dragon's tail to get to the wall. When you're south of the wall, you look for the ice dragon and follow it to the wall. So either direction, you're told basically just follow the ice dragon because the ice dragon location is the wall, right? So the implication is that the ice dragon is hidden. The ice dragon, the only one that doesn't fit that is the ice dragon is the old friend of Jon Snow, which arguably that could have foreshadowed him riding the ice dragon potentially, or something along those lines, right? Or that he's the one who's responsible for helping to recapture the ice dragon. I don't know.
Well, I mean, anyway. The ice dragon or ice dragons in the wall, I'm assuming that is one of the main power sources that the magic is pulling from. to
right,
keep the
because
wall up.
we get
And
this hint at that, right?
yeah,
There's like, for example, you get the imagery of a dragon coming to life in terms of is that
inflections.
Dragonstone, right? Dragonstone. I think it's amazing how many times Davos thinks about that and how what a weird dragon it would be given all the stairs and things and he's just constantly thinking about the idea of a dragon from stone becoming a building becoming a dragon, right? And
Right.
then you've got in the World of Ice and Fire, they talk about the idea that the heat within Winterfell is being powered by like this dragon that's captured underneath it or something, right? It's
Right.
Like the small folk say. So you've got, and then you've got the image that most people think is smoke, but that the Order of the Green Hand thinks might be a literal dragon escaping from Winterfell when Winterfell's burned, right?
Right.
And so you've got all these different things that seem to be foreshadowing the concept of a dragon trapped in a building, powering the building, going from stone in a building to being an actual dragon, right? So
yeah.
And then you've got all this language that says the ice dragon is hidden, the ice dragon is at the wall, right? And it's like,
well, I mean, even
those,
the prophecy, waking a stone dragon, and it's commented several times that ice in low light looks like stone. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
That's the great stone beast that's going to be, definitely the wall.
So obviously, you and I are on the same page there, but just thought it was worth explaining.
Oh yeah.
They had ridden past the end of the world. Somehow that changed everything. Every shadow seemed darker, every sound more ominous. The trees pressed close and shut out the light of the setting sun. Trees scraping the sky, the moon, or blocking out the sun and the stars are common imagery likely implying the weirwood magic involved in the long night.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my take on it. Hear my words and bear witness to my vow, they recited, their voices filling the twilight grove. Night gathers, and now my watch begins. It shall not end until my death. I shall take no wife, hold no lands, father no children. I shall wear no crowns and win no glory. I shall live and die at my post. I am the sword of the darkness. I am the watcher on the walls. I am the fire that burns against the coal, the light that brings the dawn, the horn that wakes the sleepers, the shield that guards the realms of men. I pledge my life and honor to the night's watch, for this night and all the nights to come. The woods fell silent. You Delta's boys, Bowen Marsh intoned solemnly, rise now as men of the night's watch. John held out a hand to pull Sam back to his feet. The Rangers gathered round to offer smiles and congratulations, all but the gnarled old forester Dywin. Best we be starting back, my lord, he said to Bowen Marsh. Dark's falling, and there's something in the smell of the night that I dislike. And suddenly Ghost was back, stalking softly between two weirwoods. White fur and red eyes, John realized, disquieted, like the trees. The wolf had something in his jaws, something black. What's he got there? Asked Bowen Marsh, frowning. To me, Ghost. John knelt. Bring it here. The direwolf trotted to him. John heard Samuel Parley's sharp intake of breath. Gods be good, Dywin muttered. That's a hand. For John and Sam, now it begins.
Oh yeah.
So there's something else that jumped out at me while I was reading that. I think this might not be the only time when we get this idea of the smell.
Yeah, you get that from what was his name, Garen, at the beginning of it. The older Night's Watch guys can tell something's wrong with the forest or who's around, like a spider sense.
Dark spawn. There's something in the smell tonight that I just like. Yeah. Dywin. It might be that Dywin himself has some other times where he's like that. I'd have to go back and check, but I feel like that might be true.
Yeah. Now, have you heard the theory that the first part or some parts of the oath was added after the 13th Lord Commander and is not actually
right, because we get an abbreviated version of this to actually open the gate, right?
Right. The lands and children and crown and all that stuff that was added for the 13th Lord Commander, and it's actually not really part of the Night's Watch oath.
Right, right, and that's kind of true of our world with, for example, the McCarthy, communist witch hunt is where they added God to the Pledge of Allegiance, right? And
Yeah.
in fact, the guy that wrote the Pledge of Allegiance was like a Baptist minister or something, but he deliberately left God out because he felt it was un-American to have in the pledge.
It's a short chapter, but a good chapter. It's setting things up for later on.
Yeah. Like I said, we found some interesting wording and some interesting things to think about there. It kind of blew both our minds with the whole. Wait, what? Doesn't need a Godswood?
Trust me, out of everything that you've said today, that one is the one that's sticking in my head most.
Yeah. That's what really jumped out at me.
Yeah, it's like the most important sentence in the entire chapter. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it probably does really imply that the Weirwoods are on the side of the others, right?
Right, and this is the first time north of the wall that we have Ghost finding something that Jon needs to know about. So that it's like somebody's guiding Ghost, or somebody's in Ghost, helping him find this stuff to keep things moving in the right direction.
Yeah, one thing that's kind of interesting about that is it kind of goes against the rules, because I think at one point did somebody say something about how actually maybe that was like George in an interview, and it doesn't actually hold up.
Talking about Very Six Skins talking about
doesn't somebody say something about you can only have one bond with a wolf, or a wolf can only bond with one person, or something?
Yeah, I think it
doesn't make any sense, because he himself talks about taking the wolf from Jon, how it would be no problem and so forth. So he kind of gives us a rule that that he thinks he can easily break. So it can't be much of a rule, I suppose. So anyway, I was starting to think
all his rules are probably wrong.
Yeah, probably.
Especially if you think somebody's helping control Ghost.
Yeah, that clearly can't be true, right? I mean, he clearly doesn't even think it's true. So I shouldn't put too much faith in that.
Yeah. I don't put a whole lot into it. There's certain things that he said about the stuff that he did. But as far as the rules that Very Six Skins gives us, I don't put a whole lot of stock into it. They sound good for the North and everything, but I mean, I don't. For George to come out and say these are the rules for warging and green sea and all that kind of stuff, I don't believe it just because he told us.
Yeah, it's you can see that that's not true. So I shouldn't put faith in something that somebody says, even if George, right? Because sometimes he says some things that we can see demonstrated are not really true.
Yeah.
Or not entirely true. Anyway, all right, we want to talk about House of the Dragon?
Yeah, hold on a second. I don't think anybody's watching because it didn't announce. Let me see.
Well, even if they are, just in case somebody's on rewatch, we're going to switch over to House of the Dragon.
Yeah, I'm the only one watching. So, but if on the rewatch you don't want to know what happened last night on House of the Dragon, here's your spoiler warning. Go away until you've watched it. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Damn, that was this episode. I'm telling you. Oh Lord, that was my favorite episode this entire season.
Really? So I'm not so certain that it was for me. I think I prefer the previous episode, but
the suspense in that, and I mean, there was a lot going on in that episode, and I liked it. I can't wait for the next one. There's going to be more going on then.
Oh yeah.
To slow down and see the gears that were going on into King's Landing, the small council working, already working on Otto Hightower's plan to put Aegon on. When the Queen found out, she's like, "What the hell?" I mean, there's so many gears.
It's interesting that I guess part of my problem was it's probably appropriate, but it felt like the pace was completely different from the way the season's gone. But that's probably appropriate because we've now gotten to the point where we're building the suspense, where we've got the actual actors, where we're actually starting the war with these actors, and so slowing it down and saying, okay, here's the steps that lead to war. Here's how we get there, and steps where people try to prevent it, and so forth. So I can kind of appreciate that from the story point. I was a little bit like, okay, it's Otto and Alicent racing to control Aegon, and I get, we just had the chapter in Game of Thrones whoever controls the king controls the kingdom and so forth. So I kind of sort of get that, but and I guess the idea here specifically is Otto's trying to arrange to literally murder everyone, right?
Yeah.
And she's trying to prevent that. So okay. So we've got Kristen Cole racing to help prevent killing Rhaenyra's side and everybody, even though he's the one that like kills Beastbury. I mean, some of the things just felt a little weird to me. It just didn't. And you got Rhaenys at the end basically kills a bunch of small folk and then isn't willing to. She probably should have said something like "I'm no kinslayer" or something, just to make the whole thing kind of fit. That she doesn't end the war right there, right? The Rhaenys takes off, and instead of just winning the war right now, she probably should have said something like, "I'm no kinslayer. See that neither are you," or something like that. Just something to sell me on why it went that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, I kind of quibbles on my part.
Be in the next episode, that might be as soon as
she may have explained that's why.
I'm not a kinslayer. I mean,
we're not at war. They haven't done anything. They haven't done anything to justify that yet, or something like that. I mean,
I'm going to tell you that is without a doubt my favorite dragon now. That bad boy looks. I don't even know what his name is, but it's bad. Melees,
okay. I believe. Yeah.
I don't know. I have to look it up because when they came through the floor and that yell at the end or the roar, I got goosebumps just thinking about it. And so many spikes. It was just so cool looking of a dragon. I love that each dragon in this series doesn't look the same.
Yeah. So anyway, I was a little bit confused by some of this. It's like just didn't feel like it quite was explained enough to me to be quite as coherent as I wanted.
It was,
so I like eight better.
Okay. Well, I mean, I thought that it was establishing lines inside King's Landing. You got the lines on the King's Guard, which King Guard is going to be for. Now, I haven't read the books. Is Westerling the one he was the Lord Commander that gave up his cloak, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's been replaced by Kristen Cole long before this.
Right. But is he dead in the books, or does he go over to Rhaenyra?
No, I think he's probably already dead.
Okay.
Because like I said, Kristen Cole was like Lord Commander before he even killed Joffrey.
Okay. But I mean, they might keep him coming just because of the actor they got.
Yeah. That's it. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool storyline, and trying to depict the fact that some people will be trying to be loyal to Rhaenyra and getting
twin brothers too. I mean, the one in the night of the King's Watch, and the other. I don't know if they're both on Rhaenyra's side or just one of them's on Rhaenyra's side. Because after they were talking about battle lines were drawn, and I thought they were talking about the brothers, and I'm like, I thought they have to rewatch it, of course. Last night, for some reason, HBO Max kicked me off my tablet, and I couldn't get on it until this morning, so I didn't watch the episode until this morning. But
I was telling you earlier, I got a new phone, and it's probably part of my technical issues, right? So I was having to, I couldn't remember my password for a while, and finally I remembered what it was.
Yeah. Ghost in the garage, open the door. Whew. Yeah. Well, next chapter is Eddard. Again.
Yeah, it goes right back.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember.
It's gonna be his told you not to trust me thing, right?
Yeah. It's a long chapter too. Yeah, it's quite a few pages. That should be quite well. Now I know I misunderstood the traveling. Are you going to be able for Wednesday?
Yeah, I think I'm probably okay for Wednesday.
All right. Well, I'll advertise that one then to the two or three people that watch it. But as soon as this one goes off, I'll send it to Twitter and then retweet it and see who gets to watch it.
We have people just joining us now. Apparently, I noticed our viewer count has gone up a few.
Yeah. Well, that's like the last video. it's over 10 people watched it, so I mean, I'm happy about that. Lady
Cool.
Thistle is wanting a
Yeah, I saw you. The Green Bard was like he wants to be on that one.
well, no, he wants the Eddard chapter, and then also he wants
Oh,
that one too. But um, I would like to do a video on the Hidden
oh,
Fingers.
that's where we were talking. I was like, I'm traveling that next weekend, was what I said.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood. Well, I know that
I said,
the Green Bard wants to do the Eddard chapter, and chances are it's going to be the night before type situation again. Which it with school it gives me a window of about 7:30 to 9 o'clock.
oh, I was saying I'm traveling. I may even have said I'm traveling that. No, I think I said that weekend. Maybe I did say that week. I meant that weekend. But
Okay.
anyway.
It is what it is. Would you be up for doing a night video record and then throwing it out there on the next day?
Yeah, but that's what I was saying is that that Friday and Saturday. You were saying it would have to be on a Friday or Saturday, and that's where I was saying those.
Oh yeah,
I'm traveling those
yeah. I
days.
really
That
see. My
was my
wife gets
point.
up at 2. Yeah, my wife gets up at 2 in the morning. Our upstairs shuts down at 8 o'clock at night. And I can have somebody watch my son till 9 o'clock, and then go upstairs with him, and then I told him
Well,
that.
people don't need to. We don't need to have our live stream here while we're discussing our scheduling.
Yeah, it's true. They don't want to hear all this.
Yeah, that's right.
But okay. Next chapter is Eddard. We might have the Green Bard with us. We might not. Hopefully we can. And I will see everybody Wednesday. And y'all be good. All right.
Have
Bye.
a good one.
You too. If I can get the thing to work. Yeah, I'm